Darren, obviously a difficult week for you guys this week. Did that play anything that happened out on the field today with what you guys were dealing with?
I mean, I feel like we did a great job of locking in at practice this week. I just feel like it was things that happened in the game that made the difference. I don't think it had anything to do with the practice or the preparation. Guys reacted to it a lot of different ways, but I didn't see anything in practice that had me worried going into the game.
Well, what was it on the field? Was it something they did to you or something you guys just didn't execute well?
It was turnovers. There were a couple shots, at least with me, that down in the red zone that's like, we gotta make those count. It's just, everybody had a play in their phase, but, it's plays that need to be made that didn't get made by us.
Could you put your finger on what was going on in the red zone today? Lots of trips down there, but just field goals and then coming up empty a couple times.
As far as the plays I was in on, I would have to go back and look at the film because I don't know if Derek was getting rushed or what the protection looked like. All I can do is, try to make a play on the ball the best I can. I don't have all the answers there, but, it's just something I would probably go look at the tape for.
How frustrating is that, though? I mean, losing a game that was not close, but you guys had so many chances to.
It's definitely sucks. Make for a long flight home. Question, what you could have done, but once tomorrow comes, we got to put this behind us because there's plenty of games left.
Yeah, sorry I've been asked this already, but how would you describe where the team is emotionally just after this week?
I mean, I'm sure it's different on a lot of individual bases. It was a lot of emotional weight on me, but I felt like I did a good job of coming into this game ready to play. Different guys may have reacted individually, but I feel like with the practice that we had this week, I feel like guys were focused on the game and came in with a solid mindset.
How was the attitude kind of when you talked about all the missed chances, the frustration on the field? Was the team the same as it is in most games? Did it feel the same, or was there frustration kind of setting in on the sideline?
I mean, there's probably frustration for sure, but I don't think it was frustration to the point of finger pointing or blaming anybody or people just checking out. It was just natural frustration of, we got to make these plays if we want to continue to go where we want to go. So I feel like morale was still good, but definitely frustrating.
What do you think the key is to just keeping this right here so that it doesn't affect moving forward?
I mean, literally not looking at the tape tomorrow or tonight on the plane, however people do it, and moving on from there, making a list of things that you want to get better at in practice the next week, and then just flushing it and moving forward to the next day because every day is a privilege in this league to play.
Darren, are you sort of shocked at what has happened to your team in the last few weeks? With the coach and then with Henry Ruggs, who so many guys on the team are close to. Are you shocked, and what's been the impact on your team?
I mean, personally, it's definitely blown me back a bit, because Coach Gruden was somebody that risked, a chance bringing me in to give me a chance to play football again. And then Henry is somebody that everybody liked, not just because he was, the fastest person you've ever seen run on the field, but, he was a good person and a respectful person, somebody that you like to be around on a daily basis. So it is shocking, it does hurt a little bit, but, all we can do is the best we can to move forward and focus on football. Nobody asked for this, but at the same time, as far as training and resilience and adversity, I feel like we're getting the best practice and training you could possibly get in that. So we just got to keep moving forward.
All right. Thank you, Darren.
Appreciate you guys.
Coach.
Okay, how's everybody doing? I'll just start off by saying, obviously, it's a heck of an effort out there by the Giants, for the game to go down to the bitter end like that. I thought we competed all the way certainly to the last series, the last play of our particular offensive drive. We knew coming up here we were playing a physical football team that had come back in a bunch of second-half games. We just saw what they did on the night game last Sunday night. So, in our opinion, right now we just ended up -2 in the turnovers, 3 in the second half, and then one of them certainly turned into points, went against us there with the interception. We gave up an explosive play in the first drive for the Giants, obviously the 30-yard touchdown down there at in the corner of the end zone, and we just didn't have enough explosives on offense really to keep us where we thought we could finish a little bit better than we did. Field position-wise, we had a poor decision over there Hunter catching it that deep in there, and then the ball came out. We ended up getting it, but we were backed up a little bit on that drive. We were backed up one of their punts earlier in the game as well. And then in the fourth quarter, obviously you missed the opportunity. You missed that short field goal like that. It's like missing a PAT. The game changes. So you start going through your chart for what you're going to do when you score. And then obviously the last drive, we turned it over again at the end. So it's kind of where we're at. I'll answer any questions.
Rich, you mentioned the lack of explosives. Henry Ruggs was an explosive football player. How much not having him for that first time?
Yeah, I don't think that's part of it. You know, we had a big explosive with Waller down there, and then we had the other one late that we ended up getting a 15-yard penalty on for going down there to push the pocket a little bit at the end, you know, push the run. But even on defense, some of the explosives that we ended up doing a good job there. We had a 15-yard penalty, the hand in the head, and I think we had another one late, you know, 2 of those on Hobbs. So they eliminated some of the explosives that we actually did have by some of the uncharacteristic penalties. We haven't had those in the last 2 weeks.
Rich, the passing offense looked like it was a little bit out of sync today. Do you think that was just execution?
Yeah, I guess, you know, you answered the question. I think we didn't execute the way we have been. I thought we had a really good week of practice, as we talked about during the week, and we were off a little bit on some of those throws, and we just didn't execute the way we have been.
Derek seemed uncharacteristically off today. Was there anything that you guys are trying to address with him, or just?
No, you know, again, I think last time we played, you made mention, you know, he's 31-34, and I don't know what the exact stat is right here, but you know, again, I know there's some plays out there he'd love to have back, but I didn't feel like it was maybe off's the word, or you know, certain throws go certain ways, and sometimes they're a little high or low, or a lot of guys make those catches. So again, we just didn't execute on either end.
Rich, after a few practices and traveling, where did you feel the team was emotionally after this week?
Yeah, I just thought you saw it on the field. We didn't see there being any issues with their emotions, or any issues with their resilience, or any issues with their effort, or any issues with their attitude, or their poise, or the way in which they represented their team today. I thought that was all good.
You had an extraordinary, obviously great year with the bye, but the team has struggled the last couple of years coming out of byes. Is there something about the week off that gets you guys out of
No disrespect to the question, but I'm going to deal with really what happened today. I thought we came off the bye, and we went through some extenuating circumstances on Monday, but they came back Wednesday to practice, and they practiced extremely hard through a full padded practice. Thought it got better as the week went on. Really excited about the way Friday's practice ended. We came up here, we had no issues in meetings, and again, I thought they represented themselves and their team really well out there today with their effort.
Rich, do you get any feeling from being around your team this week that they have been just emotionally impacted by what happened to Henry Ruggs?
You know, we've all been emotionally impacted by what happened in that particular situation. But again, as the week went on, I feel like the men that are in that locker room right now, collectively and individually, got themselves to the point where what they do best is play football. And I thought they came here today and they played football, and they played it well. And again, we just didn't execute to the point of where we have been the last 2 weeks, or in the place that we would like to. And certainly we'll get back on the plane and address it tomorrow.
In regards to you mentioned some missed opportunities, some turnovers in the red zone in particular. Did you sense frustration from your team just on some of those plays?
No, I didn't see frustration. Really, I think it's a wasted emotion. So again, you know, we have the big play. You know, Yannick gets the sack fumble. We got the ball in plus 30. We end up settling for a field goal. So there's certainly things in the red zone we'd like to do better, and we'll certainly look at that and address it as we go.
You guys, you had a clean injury report this week for the first time in a long time. Some guys went down today.
We did. I think we have 3 ankles. We have Keyshawn Nixon has one, Nick Kwiatkowski, and Phylon right there at the end got one. So that's where it stands as of right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Probably read a whole bunch of different things, what went into, you know, the way you guys were mentally this week, but it just seems like this was a game where you didn't execute plays that were there on the field.
Absolutely. I mean, we moved the heck out of the ball. You know, we had things that we wanted, and we just can't turn the ball over. You know, can't throw interceptions. The strip at the end, I didn't see the guy. I was throwing the ball to Darren in the end zone. I didn't see him, but we can't turn the ball over. That's why we lost the game. I mean, we come out and we fight at the end. We get a touchdown. We get, you know, we win the game. We're talking about different stuff. You know, and not certain emotions and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, we're football players, so we play football, but just can't turn it over.
You put your finger on what was going on in the red zone today? Some of the execution.
I mean, I could tell you exactly what they were doing and things like that. But honestly, at the end of the day, we just need to be better as players. Coaches did a great job. All of those things, I got to be better. This one's on me.
Derek, I know you talked Wednesday, just kind of in the immediate aftermath of everything that happened, where you were personally, emotionally. As a team, after a few practices and traveling leading up to this game, where did you feel the team was emotionally going into this one?
To be honest, focused on football. It's weird, when you go to practice and you go to meetings and all those things, 24 hours sometimes feels like a week. Wednesday practice and Thursday is such a heavy workload and such taxing mentally that honestly it feels like really a long time. And so I thought mentally we were ready. Myself, I was ready to go. I was excited just to play football, and I don't think that emotions or anything like that were into it. What's it called? The second interception, Zay ran a double move. I tried to fit it in before the safety got there. He got there. That had nothing to do with emotion. That was a decision that I made, and it didn't work out.
It does seem like in that situation that no matter what translates over, like when it kicks off, there's no way you can be thinking about the outside things, right? It's just too hard to play the game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I wrote down the list of things that I could be thinking about before every game in my 8 years, it'd be a pretty good story, But, that's just not the case. When it's football, like you said, we're playing football. Let's keep it to football because that's the reason we lost. They played better than us. I turned the ball over, and that's it.
Derek, when you do talk about Henry's speed factor, it changes sometimes how defenses defend you guys. Did you notice anything in that regard today as far as?
Yeah, I mean, the way people play certain coverages and things like that, but that's whether he's in the game or he's not in the game, so I've seen that with that kind of speed, obviously, it's just you have to do different things, but it wasn't anything like out of the blue or anything crazy or anything like that, but I miss him, I love him, but, when we went out there today, we still almost threw for 300, we ran the ball efficiently with explosives and stuff like that. We just turned the ball over.
What is it about the bye week that's so tough for this team?
I don't know. This was our first one with this team. So we just came out and, again, I thought we played well. We just turned the ball over.
You talked about not having the emotions from the week, but just in the game in particular, was there frustration that you were misplay, on a play-to-play basis? Were you feeling anything? I know I saw on the throw to Waller in the red zone in the first half.
Absolutely, and that's normal. I'm an emotional player. So any game, if I miss a pass or I'm going to be mad, or if I make a good throw, I'm going to yell at somebody, not taunt, but get excited. But that's just how I play. But emotionally, it wasn't like we were thinking about anything else. I'm so into the game and the game plan and all that kind of stuff. My mind can't be anywhere else.
Derek, when you overthrew Waller in the back of the end zone, was there anything that you saw that played into that, or was it just a lousy throw?
No, honestly, I appreciate your description of the throw. But I missed the throw.
You guys good? Any more? I guess how do you make sure that this loss stays here?
Yeah, I just keep going. You know me. I'm going to keep going. I didn't prepare any differently. I try and be a model of consistency, not for anybody else, but so I can tell my kids how the right way to do it. And so, you go out and almost complete them all, and it's like keep it up. And then you go out there and you have a rough day, turning the ball over. I'm not going to change. I'm going to try and learn from those mistakes, not have to force it with 6 minutes left and things like that. But I have a good process, and our coaches have a good process. But it just comes down to what we believe, and it's all about the ball, and that's why we lost. Please just talk about me turning the ball over.
All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
I know this is an emotional week for everybody, but as it relates to today, it just seems like it was just some misplays that was really the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever we get on the field, nothing else matters. And I thought we had a good week of practice. Coming off the bye week, I felt like we were rejuvenated, ready to go. Just didn't have our best. We had a lot of miscues today. Didn't have our best performance, especially offensively. I thought the defense played really well, holding them to, can't do the math. What was it? I don't even know. Yeah. And we gave one up on offense, but I think it was just a bump in the road. I don't think it was a bump in the road. I don't think it was anything to, be too crazy about.
Hunter, just as a position group, your receiver room, obviously you all are very close with Henry. How did what happened this week just affect you all as a group on a personal level?
Yeah, incredibly tough what happened. It's just a tragedy. It was very sad. It was a tough week, but we got to come out and play better than we did. And I think as we go forward, it's going to make us tighter. A lot of adversity this season, but I think just getting better every day is going to be the key to it. And, so tough week.
Sorry, strictly from that football perspective, did you notice anything different coverage-wise without Henry Speed out on the field?
No. I think Zay he's a deep threat, and he can take the top off the defense as well. And I feel like, we didn't get too different of coverage than we were expecting or, anticipated if, Henry would have been out there. I think Zay did a great job, and I was just talking to Zay back there, and it's you're not going to have 100 yards every week. It's tough to do, and you might, but it's tough to do. So just keep getting better. It's about the journey. It's about the process. It's about proving to yourself that you can go out and make the plays. And so I'm expecting him to have a huge game next week, and then and take the top off the defense, and it'd be great.
Hunter, Derek just downplayed the notion that emotions played a part in this. He said it was his fault, basically. Talk about his turnovers. How hard is that, though, to compartmentalize everything that happened this week and go out there and be a football player?
I mean, things happen in y'all's lives, and y'all still are professional and do a great job. And so same thing with us. We can't let that, affect us no matter what it is. And so I wouldn't say it really, I wouldn't say it took too much. We just have to play better. We just got to go out and play better. And I think at the end of the day, that's if we would have won today, then we probably wouldn't get a lot of these questions. And so we can control the narrative, and we can, do what we need to do to stop the outside noise, I guess.
Because how do you make sure this loss stays here?
Same thing, after we lost to the Chargers, after we lost to the Bears, just get better. It's really that simple. Just make sure we correct the mistakes that we made. Because they're all self-inflicted. I mean, offensively, we just turned the ball over. I think Derek said it when I was listening to him over there. Just a lot of self-infliction, and so that's the good part is we can control that and just get better this week of practice. And 6-3 is not too bad if we can get a win next week.
Taking away the frustration of the self-inflicted wounds, does it make it a little bit more palatable to say, hey, if we just clean that up, this is a different game, rather than just getting beat?
I'd much rather be this way, as weird as that sounds, because you can control, you're good enough to win. And we felt like we were good enough to win, but obviously the Giants have a good team, and they took advantage of, some turnovers and just not playing as crisp as we wanted to. And so I'm encouraged by, how we competed, how we played, and I feel like we have everything in front of us. We just got to stay together and get to 6-3 next week.
Do you feel like this was the worst the offense has played this year?
I haven't really processed it. I haven't really thought about it much. I feel like we moved the ball up and down the field. We got to do better in the red zone. I think it's maybe, if you're going to say we didn't play great offensively, we need to do a better job in the red zone. But I felt like we moved the ball up the field for the most part. Running backs did a great job running hard. Offensive line did a good job, protecting Derek. And so, I don't know. I have to think about that a little bit more.
You guys all set?
Thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Questions for Yannick?
Nick, is that kind of one of those games? Defensively, you guys played well, but overall, there were some mistakes and penalties that you just try to flush out as quickly as possible and move on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always tough when you take a loss, and defensively, I feel like even in the first quarter, we could have, had some better fits and made sure they didn't score in the first drive. So as a defensive guy, I take a lot of responsibility. I know all of us take a lot of responsibility on that. So yeah, it's tough.
All the players and the coaches that we talked to so far said the team responded pretty quickly emotionally after everything that happened this week. What went into that? I'm sure it's harder, done than it is said when it comes to bouncing back from something.
Yeah, absolutely. We lost one of our brothers, unfortunately, and we're doing everything we can to support him and pray for him. And then at the same time, we had to focus and lock in on this week because we had another game with the Giants. And I felt personally we had a great week of practice. Unfortunately, we couldn't pull it out.
You know that everyone outside the building is going to say today happened because you guys were dealing with everything else and the emotions. Like, is that a wrong narrative to?
I think there's no excuses. There's always going to be things that happen in life, regardless of what field you're in. If you're in football, if you are just anybody, any kind of field, it's going to be adversity, and it's all about how you respond.
You, I think, took the lead back from Max in the sack race. Is that important to you?
Oh no. At the end of the day, I would have wished we would have won that game. At the end of the day, I'm trying to go to the playoffs. That's what I'm in it for.
What did you see on that strip sack, and did you feel like that was going to be a turning point for you guys?
Yeah, I was hoping that momentum would have shifted, and we could have really put our foot on their necks and win that game. But at the end of the day, those guys get paid too. They made great plays. They won the turnover margin, and whoever wins the turnover margin has a great chance of winning the game. So we got to make sure we make more turnovers as well.
You mentioned the goals and objectives that you guys have, and that is to make the playoffs. How do you make sure that what happened today just stays right here and doesn't get on that plane with you back home to Las Vegas?
This is a very mature team. We take adversity really well. This is only our third loss. And as men, we need to go into the building tomorrow, watch the tape, reevaluate, and be super critical upon ourselves individually and get it fixed.
You left for a minute in the game. Was that a hand issue? Or
it was nothing. I don't know why they pulled me. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is your, and obviously the losses was top of mind right now, but I think this is your third two-sack game in the last 4 contests. Do you feel like something started clicking for you just in this portion of the season?
Yeah, when you got guys on the opposite side of me like Max, and you got guys on the interior like Fi, Q, Solly, like those guys, they help a lot, with the push, and especially the back end. Those guys are doing their thing. So, yeah, all credit to those guys for helping me. Absolutely.
Is there anything about playing football after the events of both this week and kind of the last month also with the adversity you've been through? Do you think it's affected you guys much on the field?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. I feel like the camaraderie, the energy was there. Like I said, just a couple misfits on defense. It's a team game, so all 3 phases, we can all do better. I'm pretty sure guys are thinking about that right now. So, like I said, you're going to face outside adversity, and it's just all about how you respond.
You guys all set? All right. Thank you, guys.